Welcome back to the Jimi Priceless Show, and this is part 11 of the author series. Hey yo, welcome back to the Jimi Priceless Show, a weekly YouTube show hosted by your boy, Jimi Priceless. You know, like I said, I'm gonna bring the series back one more time, and here it is. For the last time ever. The author series for. So if you haven't watched or know what the author series is about, you can check out the playlist. It's basically a series where I use, my own experiences and things I've learned and discovered and, share it with y'all, and try to give other up and coming artists, kind of lessons where, or mistakes from me, mistakes that I made that they can learn from instead of having to make these mistakes themselves. So, we got 10 episodes out already, about to shut it down for the next 5 episodes. So, let's get back into it. So for this episode, I wanted to speak about kind of like finding and deciding whether to stay in your lane or in a lane. Because the way I planned out the order series was like the first five episodes was kind of like before your release, the middle 5 was kind of during your release, and then these episodes are like post release of your album or whatever your creative outlet is. So dealing with that post release moment of either getting feedback that's great or feedback that's not so great. So, let's start with the bright side first. So let's say you release some shit, gets rave reviews, and everyone's like, yo, you need to keep making this kind of shit. So in that case, the question is not do you stay in your lane, but how long do you stay in that lane? Because it's tempting to keep doing what's working over and over. And that comes down to kind of the type of artist you want to be. If you want to exist in a space where it's kind of like, okay, whatever's popping, I'ma be on some radio shit or some mainstream shit, then that's a bit easier, I guess. But if you on some, I'm trying to push the boundaries of my artistry, I'm trying to do different things, then it's a bit difficult. Because it feels like what you are doing is counterintuitive to being successful. Because I had this project, I was still busy, that was like my most well-received project. And then immediately afterwards, the next project I dropped was like completely different to that. So, so I had that moment where it's like, am I fucking up my hype right now? And, the thing with that is, if you're gonna have, true fans and true followers, they're gonna follow you regardless, They might not like your different styles or if you switch things up, but, they're still gonna follow and show interest in what you're doing, and be like, nah, okay, I don't fuck with the next shit, but maybe the shit after your next shit I'm gonna fuck with. So that's one way to kind of rationalize it. Or, like I said, you can just keep doing that same thing, if that's cool with you. But you should never like let the outside voices affect your creative decisions to that extent, because let's say you're making genre A music, right? And doing great, getting a good buzz. But now you creatively really want to make genre B music. So obviously the fear of losing your genre A fans is there, but you never know how many fans you could gain doing this genre B music or this new thing that you're into. So I would suggest always, just fuck it, just go for it, And music it's a very easily digestible form of content, or, you know what I mean? Because it's not like, let's say you make this song and it's on some different vibes that somebody has to sit with that for months and months, You can come out the very next day with another song that's sounding like the shit they would like. So I would always like push artists to do what they feel, artistically is the best for them. Because like the same with like hype and stuff, you can always build it up again. The people aren't going anywhere unless there's a big gap in time. Because once you start talking months between the releases, then it's people get conditioned to a certain kind of trend. So then you might have to adjust to that trend. But if it's like on some, you know, a week later, you can come up with some new shit and fuck it, try all the kind of shit, if you're able to push out music that quickly. So yeah, that just, in terms of if things are going great, do you stick to it or don't stick to it? I would, if you don't want to, don't stick to it. You can always reignite the flame, if you really able to push out music quickly. So now we get to the other side of the scale, which is, let's say, the feedback was bad. And my advice will still be the same, the people don't know what they want until they get it, so nobody knew they wanted, like, what's the trending thing, like drill or whatever. Nobody sat there and was like, I want those kind of drums on the song or those kind of flows. They had to hear it first to be like, oh shit, I fuck with this. So if you drop some shit and it don't hit, drop some more shit. However, you still gotta have a threshold to where you like have to rethink the way you may be giving your music instead of the music itself, because maybe you're targeting the wrong people. Maybe you're giving it through the wrong mediums. Like, especially like, these rappers that be rapping all out on these beats. Like, I don't enjoy that music. However, if it's presented on like in like a YouTube video, I'll watch it, because the visuals are enough to keep my attention. Because, I feel like though that personally that kind of shit doesn't have like a lot of replay value unless you're really good and you have a really good like memorable bars. And then, on the other end of the spectrum, you also don't want to limit yourself now by saying, I'm only going to do it in this way that works. You have to give it to people wherever they can get it. So that's why I usually find it, weird when artists are like, nah, this song is only for SoundCloud, like, unless, like, my reason for doing things like that is because if it has a sample and then I'm not going to clear it, so it's like, okay, let's just put it on SoundCloud, let's not monetize it. So if some shit pops up, the worst that can happen is a TMC removal. So, but you still get artists that are like, nah, like, the song is not for streaming platforms, it's just for the SoundCloud fans. And for me, it's just like, you're just limiting your audience so much by doing that, by not deciding to be on the major platforms, and even in that regard, in the logistics regard, you have to figure out whether some shit's working for you or not. Because I get that a lot of artists, especially myself, we're very sacred about our shit. We don't want to devalue it in any way, and putting your music on streaming platforms is basically the easiest way to devalue it, because it has no value anymore in terms of an artist exchanging that song for payment or like something in return, really, because that 0.001 cents is a joke, really. So when deciding what's your next move after your last drop, you always have to find ways to just give it to people, try to cater to more people, which means, putting it on more platforms and ways that, most people won't usually think of, and ways that might not seem monetizable at first. And in terms of music, that might be kind of more tricky, because you're stuck to a format, you're stuck to a 3-minute piece of audio. Whereas, however, you can break down those components. So like what I did with the artist series was, like I was like, like I don't want to keep giving more, writing new bars and writing more songs and making more beats. if it's not gonna reach as big of an audience or a bigger audience, because now it's kind of like I'm just wasting my time. But then, like I did the sit down series is where I take popular beats and then I use vocals from songs I wrote years ago. So now I'm not doing anything new, but I'm just kind of finding a way to recycle it. And then so now, I found a new lane of doing these very short 30-second lyric videos that I post. So when trying to switch up your lane, it's not always only your style of what you're doing, but it's also the way in which you present that to people. And like with that example of the sit-down sessions that I'm doing, an easy way is to kind of break it down. Instead of saying, I have this album, you got to break it down into, I have these 10 songs, then it's like, I have these 2 verses and a hook, and then it's like, I have this verse, and then it's like, you keep breaking it down to as small pieces of content as possible, because it's just easier to apply it to different mediums. So, when it comes to staying in your lane, I don't suggest staying in your lane. I suggest, doing what you feel is the right thing, artistically, because it's also it's the easiest thing you'll be able to do consistently. It's easier to do something you want to do consistently than something you feel you have to do just to get some good feedback from people, So yeah, that's my take on it. This has been episode 11 of the Artist series. We'll be back next week with episode 12. Be sure to tune in, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out.